Hey, what's up everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so the Los Angeles Lakers played against the Utah Jazz tonight at the Crow, and Anthony Davis got hurt. But God shined a light on Anthony Davis tonight, and the uh, x-rays have come out negative, so they said he'll be reevaluated after the All-Star break, and that is extremely good news. So at this point, the Lakers, I'm guessing, got that information and were able to kind of relax, because that first half, after he got hurt, the team was just in disarray. You started seeing Frank put those small ball lineups on the floor that weren't going to help us at all, and eventually he put Dwight out there, and we got a few offensive rebounds and things of that nature that kind of helped us um, gain a little momentum. And to be honest with you guys, just fought. Everyone played extremely hard. At that point, they just kind of rallied around one another. Westbrook pitched in and played very well. THT pitched in, played well. Austin Reeves had a heck of a night, even though he couldn't hit a three. He was doing everything else to help his team, and ultimately hit a big three down the stretch to help seal the game. And you just got to give credit to everybody who played tonight. I think at the end of the day, you also want to look at the Utah Jazz and say, you know, they kind of are a very confusing team. I think when you consider they're on a 6-game winning streak, um, but came in and played so poorly against the Lakers and had a situation where AD gets removed from the game via injury, and they don't take advantage. I saw a lot of bad shots taken by Donovan Mitchell, and guys like Mike Conley weren't quite making it the impact necessary. Rudy Gobert was kind of stiff out there tonight, not really moving like he should. Terrible plus minus. Royce O'Neal, guys were making bad decisions and just bonehead mistakes, turning the ball over and stuff like that. It really worked in the Lakers' favor, as LeBron James just made up his mind that he was going to force, um, us into a victory. And I gotta say, you gotta give credit. In the face of adversity, this team has once again showed us that same heart we saw against the Charlotte Hornets. Even though we didn't pull out the victory, you could see that this type of relentlessness can eventually pay off into victories, and you gotta give credit to all involved. Malik Monk was really out there playing well, doing things necessary to keep his team going, clutch free throws and things of that nature. Even though we did have some issues in the free throw line, we ultimately made the ones we needed to tonight in order to seal the deal. So I was very pleased with that. And you just want to give credit where credit's due. Guys fought through. I think it's very easily the best win of the season rather, and you got to look at it as them continuing to build momentum that I said was established in the Golden State game. Even though they didn't win that game, you could see where the momentum was changing, and guys were starting to believe in what it is that they were trying to accomplish. And most importantly, practice time. The Lakers have been able to practice more, and I think they're starting to have more confidence in one another, because they're starting to understand things a little more in terms of each other, and how best to play these games and approach these plays they have to run. So I think you're seeing that cohesiveness start to really conform, and it's unfortunate that we're continuing to run into these injury issues, but all things considered, we got the best news possible on AD. It is a good chance that he may be able to return for this season at some point. I don't think they should rush him back, but the fact that nothing's broken, or that there appears to be anything worse off, is ultimately the best news for us. Now, I think they're going to have to go get a second opinion, get things straightened out, make sure they treat it properly. I think it's most important to just take a look at everything to make sure that he's all right, before we send him back out here. He is just recovering from a different injury, so I would be cautious personally, but we'll see what the Lakers want to do. But as far as tonight's concerned, look, like I said, I think this is the best win of the season. Utah Jazz laid yet another egg against the Los Angeles Lakers, which really makes us think, we would love to run into this team in the playoffs if we can kind of put ourselves in a position to kind of play them if possible. I think that would probably be what's best for the Lakers, because for whatever reason, the Utah Jazz just can't seem to play well against us. And tonight was yet another night where they didn't. The momentum seemed to shift in our direction, and when that happened, Utah just did not meet us with that energy, and I'm happy about it. To be completely honest with you, this is a win that the Los Angeles Lakers definitely needed, and on a night where it looked like things were going horribly, uh, things just turned around for this team, and so you got to appreciate the luck um, falling on our side. And you know, at the end of the day, you know, it is the All-Star break coming up. You know, if you're going to have an injury like this to AD, you would probably choose to have it right now, because this gives you a long stretch of time where the entire league's not around, you know, playing at all, and he could just get the treatment necessary, and it buys him an extra week away from uh, basketball, you know, as to where it would normally be about 4 or 5 games represented missed. In this case, there isn't any, so that's a really good thing. But yeah, man, I gotta say the King put on the show in terms of just recognizing the situation was bad and picking himself up. And then Russell Westbrook, I think, really helped along as well by making some plays that got him cutting in the lane and things of that nature. And it really helped the Lakers. You know, I saw some big shots hit tonight on both sides. So you want to give credit to guys like Austin Reeves and Bogdanovich and several others who were hitting shots as well during that stretch of point. And, you know, you just understand that if this team had everybody together and we decided to run a center every once in a while, I think we would have a different result. You know, we would be in this thing. I don't think this season is necessarily a reflection of what this team could have been. You know, I don't. Now, I'm not saying that we were going to win the championship with this roster, and I'm certainly not saying this roster was constructed properly. But just given as it is, with some of the young players that we found on this team, you know, there is something to be said for if they fill out the rest of the roster and this team having been healthy, they could have had a chance to do some decent things in these playoffs. So I have written us off based on everything that I've seen thus far, but I can't say that I'm discouraged by the production of the young players that I'm seeing on this team. You know, THT's coming along slowly, but he is picking it up. He's showing us what he can help us with. If I'm not mistaken, he had like 3 blocks in the first half or first quarter. I did miss a lot of that, but the stats told me the truth. And at the end of the day, that's what we need from him. You know, we're going to need him to kind of play more of a big role on the defensive end and be smarter on the defensive end than he's been able to display early on this season. And I think with more practice time, more time with the coaches, he can improve, you know. And so I like what I saw. His decision making was better tonight. He wasn't forcing as many shots and things of that nature. He was passing it, looking to defer to LeBron down the stretch, and I think it helped us win. I think that decision truly helped his team win. And so, you know, you got to give credit to the little things. And I think everybody played well. You know, ultimately, as I predicted earlier in the pregame video that I made, this game just had the feel of, even though we were up against it, because of how we looked in the last game, I think the team would really, you know, be okay going into this game and feeling good about themselves and ready to go. Plus the time off, being that it's been, 4 or 5 days since they've played, I felt that would make them well rested on top of that. So it had the makings of something good, but it was just unfortunate that AD went down. And you couple that with the understanding that AD was actually starting to score in this game. You know, I think he had like 17 points in that first quarter, if I'm not mistaken, so before he went down. So, you know, that was a sheer sign that he was also in the mindset of carrying over that momentum. And it's just very unfortunate, once again, that he's going to have to miss a little time. But we know it's not as bad as it looked. The replay was pretty scary. But all in all, you know, we just need to let him take his time and, you know, thank our lucky stars, basically. So, yeah, man, I'm going to give the game ball to LeBron James because I felt like he was up against it tonight. I really do. You know, this is one of those nights where you could either, you know, fold or fight. And I think he chose to fight, and that's a good thing. You know, that shows us what we need to see from him going forward in order for this team to get the respect that it needs. So, you know, at this point, I'm hopeful that the Lakers now turn their attention to signing a big man. Obviously, I've been screaming for Moses Brown, but there are others out there as well that the Lakers need to take a look at and sign, including some guys that may be in the G League who can help us. I think it would be a good idea to go young. I see no reason to hold on to the notion that the second half of the season should be a veteran-focused situation. We need value to come from nowhere, and the only way that's going to happen is if we get guys who are younger to start displaying some upside in our uniform. That's how we're going to get the flexibility we need, and so that's what I think we should be doing. So yeah, call up Moses Brown, call up Mac McClung. It's time to do that. Second half of the season should be more so a display of the young players on this team. We got to get their value up. And as far as everything else, man, yeah, we'll watch the Lakers. We're fans of this team. We're going to continue to support our squad, but this is not the product we signed up to see, and there's going to have to be some people who are going to have to take accountability for that. And, that may mean some heads will roll. Now y'all know I'm calling for the coach to be removed, because I think a lot of what went wrong this season was because of some of the choices that he made. And, I think that's not the only move we need to make. But at the same time, fully assessing that at this time, for me, it's going to require a lot more thought in terms of if I'm ready to move on from Rob or not. Because at this point, that's who I'm now turning my attention to. Because I just don't see how this ever could have been something that this team ultimately did. I could see guys arguing over doing something like this, but ultimately they landed on this move as an organization, and I just don't think it was wise. I really don't. And then you couple with some of the other moves that have been made, but I'm mainly talking about the Russell Westbrook contract. So I just feel like it's time to move on from LeBron. I think it's time to move on from AD. Given this injury, it scared us enough. We got lucky here. It would probably be wise to just try to get value for these guys. I think that's the best way forward. Play it safe and just move forward, because if you don't, the chances of us holding on to a good quality basketball club from year to year over the next several years is going to be bleak without, any way to get flexibility or young talent. So it's important that we do so. So that's my opinion. That's what I'm going to say. And, but still got respect for everybody. I'm not down in Bron. I'm not saying he can't win, but it's just the specifics of this situation. It just means that we have to do this, in my opinion. If you guys see another way, then do it. But I just don't. Not given what we have going on here. So that's what I got to say, man. My name is BDF44. Good win, Lakers. I'm happy we beat the Utah Jazz tonight. I don't think our coach is the only one who's on the clock. Quinn Snyder, I don't know how, they view his coaching at this point, but their defense has fallen off quite a bit. And some of the stuff we saw out there from that team tonight was just, I don't know how they were on a 6-game winning streak coming into this game. I really don't, but they got to tighten up and so on and so forth. So that's what I saw. Luckily enough, we played against them, and that momentum we had just carried us forward to a win. So yeah, that's what I got. BDF44. Thank y'all for watching.